Hey there viewers, it's Charlie, I'm back again, and this is going to be the last of my Action Master reviews for right now. And the main reason being, well, this is the last Action Master I have right now. But today's review is going to be on Generation 1 Action Master Blaster. Try saying that 3 times fast. But, well, as you can see, Blaster here is actually one of the carded figures, so unlike my previous Action Master reviews, he did not have a vehicle, although he did come with something else that I'll show later on. But for now, let's have a look at Blaster's detailing. And right off the bat, even though this guy actually doesn't transform, because, come on, he's an Action Master, he still has elements of his old alternate modes. I can't even speak, but as you can see, he still has the cassette tray, the buttons for the cassette tray, the speakers, and will be the handle for his, I want to say vehicle mode, but it's not a vehicle, well, boombox mode. So yeah, even though he doesn't transform into a boombox anymore, he still has the parts of a boombox on him. But come on, this is a classic design here, so having a 360 of the figure. We do see some back detailing, pretty cool. And well, the head, if anything, this sort of looks like a combination between his cartoon head and his Marvel Comics head. Because as you can see, even though it has the blue eyes of the cartoon version of Blaster, the face looks more like the Marvel comic version of Blaster. So yeah, it's like a hybrid. And the articulation is just like every other Action Master. Head can turn, the arms can go 360, they can turn loose with it. They can turn loose, thanks to age. Nothing at the waist, legs can move up. They can go back that far, it's got knees. And actually, just like the original Blaster, he can still do the splits. Although this time it's actual articulation, not just part of the transformation. Because if this was the actual Blaster figure, the head would turn and just go into a little cavity, the arms would fold in, and then he'd do the splits, these bits would fold out, and his legs would move up again, and he'd be in boombox mode. I think trying to get his legs up without breaking the figure. There we go. Always feels scary to do because the Action Master figures are just like the G.I. Joe figures because they have little O-rings in there, so one snap I can leave the legs all wobbly. It's not the case with this figure, but who knows what will happen within time. Oh. But of course, I have to show off his tech spec, because this is a G1 figure, after all. So I'll just read this for you. Function, communications. When the music is rocking, I'm rolling. He loves all kinds of Earth music, but rock and roll is his favorite, because it's hard and loud, like him. Fights hard, plays hard, lives hard. And makes sure everyone knows it. Okay, I'm sorry, I cannot read that with a straight face. In combat, routinely performs... I cannot even read. Routinely performs feats of courage and daring that will blow the fuses on other robots. As a communications center, his broadcast range is 4,000 miles. His Energon-powered flight pack, which is this thing, can propel at airborne speeds in excess of 120 miles per hour. Backpack converts into a signal-jamming electro-scrambler gun. So yeah, the carded Action Masters did not have vehicles, but they did have either these things or little drones or animals that they came with. So yeah. Now to look at his actual skill levels. As you can see, he's got a 9 in strength, an 8 in intelligence, a 3 in speed, an 8 in both endurance and rank, a 10 in courage, a 7 in firepower, and a 10 in skill. So yeah. Now, I don't know if that's the same as the original Blaster Figures tech spec, but still cool nonetheless. Now, if you remember Starscream's review, I had his box, which actually showed something along with the tech spec. The power plans, although unlike with Starscream, we can see that this is not English. I'm pretty sure this is actually French, and what could be German as well, but there's no English on this whatsoever. So sadly, unlike with Starscream, I'm unable to read or even translate all this. But if you speak either French or German, and you want to translate these for me, go ahead. Or not, you probably won't, knowing my comment section. There'll just be someone saying, "Cool video, Charlie," and that's it. But if you're going to translate these, go ahead. And the back does show a bit of the card back, along with the actual blister that the figure was on, so yeah. That's pretty much it for the power plans. Now for the main bit, aside from Blaster himself, here we have his flight pack. And, well, what is this? It's just a bit of plastic. Bit of blue, bit of green, that's it. Although, you can move that out, so it's like a little jetpack thing. And this just attaches onto his back. Although, at the cost of making him top heavy. Probably just due to the legs being loose now, but as you can see, attaching this onto his back makes him very top heavy, or well, back heavy, actually. Although it is possible to get him standing if you're patient enough. There we go. But just try not to bump the table or blow on him too hard. But then you can just unfold the wings out. And I guess now he can't even stand, but hey, this is supposed to be a flight pack, so now he could just ram in, fist out, and punch Soundwave right in the nads. But yeah, that's not the only use for this flight pack. Because as you can see, we have this little black bit there. And if you just flick a switch, it flips out this little cannon. And my voice is cracked. But yeah, it flips out this cannon, although a complaint here is if you try to push it in, it requires quite a bit of force, because if you just try to push it in normally, it just springs back out again. And it does take quite a bit of force to try and get that back in. And I have no idea why, if it was like the springs have weakened or if it's always been like that. I just do not know. But for now, let's just keep this out, because this turns into that scrambler gun that the tech spec was talking about. Oh, and here we also have Blaster's gun. Sure, it doesn't look like his normal gun because it doesn't have that hole in it, but it can just go into his arm casually. So if he just wants to casually shoot some Decepticons, then he can. Although, if you want to go overkill, what you can do is you can attach this gun onto this bit, and well, now you have this going on. I can't even speak. And as you can see, on either wing, we have a little port here, so you can just attach that onto Blaster's arm if you can. Because sometimes things can get in the way, but there we go. Now we have Blaster's overkill weapon. And of course, if you lift it up, it does make him front heavy. But, yeah. This is overcompensating a little bit. This is like if Blaster wanted to shoot a huge tank, or if he wanted to shoot Gut Crunch's jet. But, like, say he just wanted to shoot Soundwave. That would completely obliterate Soundwave, maybe. So, yeah, it is quite overkill. Which is why I prefer to display Blaster in his... Well, that's why sorry, I can't even speak, I'm trying to get this in. But I prefer to display Blaster with this on his back. And if it just excuse me while I'm trying to get the cannon back in. There we go, I've managed to get it back in somehow. But yeah, I prefer to just display Blaster with the heli pack on his back. Sure, it makes him back heavy, but if you can balance him the right way, then he will be able to stand if you do get him balanced the right way. There we go. I'll just hold on to him. But if you just give him his weapon, now you can attach him to... But now he can go on any of the Action Master vehicles. For example, I like to put him on the little back section of Wheeljack's Turbo Racer. If you remember that review, I was trying to put Wheeljack on, but his foot peg was sunken in, so I couldn't do it. Oh, there we go. I managed to get him standing. But if you can't get him standing, he does look pretty cool on the shelf. If you're ever Action Master figures. And hopefully one day I'll get Soundwave so Blaster can get his Nemesis. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this guy. I mean, complaints... Well, for one, I just hate how the cannon bit on the heli pack can be really hard to try and get back in, because while it's easy to deploy, it's not so easy to retract it back in. It requires a lot of force, and you could probably hurt yourself doing it as well. Second, I hate how it does make him back heavy. I mean, sure, you can get him to stand, but if you have to heli pack on him, then he does become rather back heavy. And third, although this one's just a nitpick, I do find the combined mode of both weapons a bit silly. I mean, it's around the same height, if not taller than him. So why would you want to hold it? But yeah, that was just a nitpick. I mean, let's just get to the recommendations. Do I recommend this guy? Well, once again, if you're a fan of the Action Masters, because, as I've said before, these guys do not transform, and if you don't like that, then just do not get this guy. Go to the original G1 Blaster if you want a G1 figure of him. But if you don't mind the Action Masters, then yeah, go ahead. This guy is pretty cool, and it's always fun to collect the Action Masters to display on the bigger vehicles. So, this has been my review on the Action Master Heli Pack, or Flight Pack with Blaster. I'm getting them confused. But, well, this is Charlie Young, signing off.